Hey guys, I'm Fancy, and this is Little Wyatt, and this is Murder by Design. Well, I'm back on grandma duty. Finally got him back on the daily basis. Emily went back to work today. I'm so excited, but he's just a little fussy right now, guys. So if he fusses too much, I'm very sorry, but I'm going to try and get through this, okay? So today, I'm going to tell you about a serial killer who slipped through the cracks over and over and over again. I am both broken at the many lost lives and enraged that this monster was allowed to get away with brutal and deviant crimes with not much more than a slap on the wrist. And I'm going to tell you a little bit more about how I feel about the failure of the justice system after we get through some of the facts. So on November 19th, 1988, 9-year-old Michaela Joy Garecht and a friend rode their scooters to the Rainbow Market in Hayward, California in broad daylight. They left their scooters in the parking lot and went inside to buy candy and soda. And when they came back outside, Michaela's friend's scooter wasn't where she left it. It had been moved. It's okay. It had been moved close to a car that was parked in the parking lot. When Michaela walked over to get the scooter, a man grabbed her and pulled her into the car. And Michaela was never seen again. No arrest was ever made, and she is presumed dead, although her body was never found. The unknown male suspect was described as between 18 and 24 years old, approximately 6 feet tall, and 180 pounds. He had dirty blonde shoulder-length hair and either pockmarks or pimples on his face. His car was a gold or tan-colored older model four-door sedan with damage to the front bumper. On December 22nd, 2020, over 32 years after Michaela was abducted, it was announced that David Emery Misch, now 59 years old, had been arrested. He was charged for the abduction plus a special circumstance for her alleged murder since her body hadn't been found, and he is currently awaiting trial. Sorry, guys. It's hard to feed a baby and turn pages. Rowdy, stop it. And my dog is over here like gagging himself. Good Lord. Anyway, Misch was determined to be the suspect after a fingerprint and a partial palm print on Michaela's friend's scooter were manually matched to him. His lawyer, Ernie Castillo, essentially called the technique junk science, saying we will definitely be attacking any concept or idea that a person can, with their human eye, be able to distinguish ridges or whatever type of patterns we have on our hands. Finding Misch to make the arrest was no biggie since he was already incarcerated at the state prison medical facility in Stockton. You see, David Emery Misch, well, he's a serial killer. In December 1989, Misch murdered his friend of many years. 36-year-old Margaret N. Ball was found beaten and stabbed to death by her stepdaughter in her Hayward, California home. In 1990, Misch was convicted and sentenced to 18 years to life for the brutal murder. Then in March 2018, the Fremont police announced they'd made an arrest in a horrific 1986 double murder case. In February 1986, the bodies of best friends Michelle Xavier, 18, and Jennifer Dewey, 20, were found naked on the side of Mill Creek Road in Fremont, California. They had been brutally assaulted and murdered by David Misch, and like in Michaela's case, after 32 years, the case was finally solved. David Misch has a long history of criminal offenses and harming others and should have been in prison long before 1986 when he assaulted and murdered Michelle Xavier and Jennifer Dewey. In 1977, when he was 16 years old, Misch was convicted of breaking into his neighbor's home and assaulting their maid at knife point. He was on parole before 1978. He was arrested in 1979 for false imprisonment, assault with a deadly weapon, and an attempt to commit rape. He was paroled for those crimes in September 1981. Are we seeing a pattern here? Do you see how he's falling through the cracks here, guys? Pisses me off. In July 1982, he was convicted for an assault where he held a woman at knife point and beat her. He was once again a free man by January 1984. In September 1984, he was charged with indecent exposure. In August 1985, he was charged with driving while naked. What? Driving while naked. In May 1988, just 6 months before Michaela was abducted, he was arrested for burglarizing a supermarket. He was given 1 year in prison and a year of probation, but by November, he was already out and free to continue his reign of terror. A few days after Michaela was taken, Misch was arrested again and charged with possession, but was out on parole by November 17th, 1989, less than a year later. He then went on to kill his friend Margaret Ball. Hold on. Sorry, he lost his binky. He then went on to kill his friend Margaret Ball a few weeks later in December, and his reign of terror ultimately ended in 1990 when he was convicted for her murder. Oh, crud. Michaela's mother and the community of Hayward have expressed relief knowing that they finally have some answers, and the man that committed these crimes will never be free again. The FBI and the Hayward Police Department continue to seek... No, don't cry. Shh. Continue to seek information from the public that would assist in locating Michaela so that she can be properly laid to rest. Investigators are currently working to find other murders that Misch could possibly be responsible for. So if you would like more information on this, you can check out Christina's blog about it over on madgingerentertainment.com or on Medium at Murder by Design. Guys, this makes me really angry. This case makes me so livid. This guy should have been off the street thousands of times, man. He was convicted and let go, and convicted and let go. And I really believe that in society, in the justice system, we do not take rape and assault. And when I said assault, I was doing that because a lot of times they like to censor me for saying that word. So it's the R word, because we can't say that. God, we talk about it. But I just can't. It's so upsetting the way that this case was handled. It's the same as what we were dealing with in when we were looking into the Norris Bittaker case, the toolbox killers. They were the same thing. They were in and out of prison for violent crimes over and over and over and over again. And nothing happened. They just kept being released, and they go on to kill these girls, and this guy too. It's got to stop. We have got to put the right people in prison for the right crimes for the right amount of time. The justice system is so messed up on all sides. It's unequal in many ways. It's very, it is a system that is, I believe, that there is problems with racism. I do believe that there is an economic class, breakdown in the justice system, where people that are more well off get off with a slap on the wrist, whereas people that may be in a lower economic status are the ones that end up doing more time and getting, and then what happens is, if they didn't go in a terrible criminal, they come out one, because the justice system in the prison is just terrible. And, we have a punitive, it's supposed to be a rehabilitative prison system. It's not. It's a punitive justice or prison system, and we need to focus more on rehabilitation, I think, and making sure that they don't come back as repeat offenders, and taking people that we think are going to be repeat offenders when they're repeating 1, 2, 3 times off the streets before it gets to this, before it gets to murder, because obviously he's escalating. He was getting more and more violent. It's just, good Lord. What are your guys' thoughts? What do you think? Do you think that this is another case where he could have been stopped? Do you feel like the justice system failed in this case and failed the women that he eventually murdered? I do. What do you think? Drop your comments below. We will be announcing on our Friday Night Live the winner from our contest the other day. You can still enter. So if you go to my tidbit on Monday about John Bonet, I ask you a trivia question. If you guys want to drop your answers in the comment section, either here on Facebook or on YouTube, we will be doing a live random drawing. And so you guys can win a $5 gift card to Starbucks or Dunkin' Donuts from the Good Wives. So go ahead and do that. We will be back on Friday night. We will have Dr. Laura Petler with us, and we're going to be discussing the John Bonet case more. So this is a case that I really do want to look into more, and obviously it's a case that everybody in the world has ever wanted to know. And I just watched some of the specials that gave some alternate ideas other than the family. I'm going to tell you what, some of those theories were not too unplausible. Some of them really could have happened. And after listening to what the detective that worked the case for years and years and they wouldn't listen to, I don't know. There's a lot of evidence that I don't think the general public knew about. We're going to talk about a lot of that stuff on Friday. We may do a longer session about JonBenét, so be looking for that. But Dr. Laura Petler is going to talk about the staging of the crime scene and in relation to that, one. So these weren't small convictions like robbing a store while it closed. These were convictions for, yeah, exactly. These were huge convictions, and he's out in a year. What is this message sending to the general public? What message is this sending to violent offenders? And men that prey on women. This is terrible. This needs to be this needs to be rectified, and it's still happening today. I know this is an older case, but it's still happening today, this type of miscarriage of justice. All right, guys, well, I'm going to hop off here. He finally fell asleep. And I will see you actually later tonight. I'm supposed to do a psych talk with Amanda tonight. We were supposed to do it last night, but we just couldn't get done with what we needed to get done. So and also, you can read Christina's opinions on JonBenét on our blog as well over at madgingerentertainment.com. So have a good one. Bye, guys. See you a little later tonight at 6 p.m. for my psych talk with Amanda.